Welcome. September 2024 is a very busy month. Aquarius Rising, you have two planets that are the rulers of your chart, and they are Saturn and Uranus. You are a fixed yang air rising sign. We also see the beginning of the new equinox season. It's the beginning of the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere and the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere. Get your pen and paper out if you need to jot down any dates, because it is a very active month indeed. Now let's get into it. Let's talk about the solar planetary transits first. On the 1st of September, Pluto is going retrograde back into the sign of Capricorn for one last hurrah, tidying up anything in your 12th house. It goes direct on October 11. Uranus, which is your ruling planet, on the 1st of September, slows down in your 4th house, going retrograde in Taurus, and goes direct on January 30, 2025. When you have your own ruling planet retrograding, this is an opportunity to just sit with your Uranian future-minded self. Where is it do you need to redirect your energy, slow down, or possibly expand, create more freedom for yourself, connected to the 4th house topics, which are home, family, your dwelling, real estate and property. All of these subjects may be very lit, if you will, for you when you have your ruling planet retrograding here in the 4th house, which then, as you know, because I just said it, is going direct on January 30, 2025. So it's quite a big window of potential changes in your 4th house. The other continuing planetary transits for the month of September are planet Neptune retrograding in Pisces. This is your 2nd house. It goes direct on December 7. Jupiter is currently transiting for the month of September in Gemini, your 5th house, which is Jupiter's detriment sign. Saturn, your other ruling planet, is retrograde in Pisces, your 2nd house, and goes direct on November 15. So your other ruling planet is also retrograde. So two of your ruling planets that rule the self, your character, your physical body, there's some big changes going on for you as an Aquarius rising. Saturn retrograding here in your 2nd house of finance, asset, possession, things that give you a sense of support and value. Your ruling planet's up in the air about, you identifying, because it rules your 1st house, what's important to you. Gathering possessions, alleviating all of the rubbish or things that you've accumulated. You need to clear the decks. Saturn retrograde here, and also now Uranus retrograding, representing your 1st house, is about your finances, home, and property. So that's a lot to deal with, because you do have two planets that rule your 1st house. So take it easy. If you feel like you're pulled and pushed in lots of different physical directions or environments, things will settle. So will your finances come November 15 and January 30, 2025. Little ways to go yet, Aquarius rising. Now let's talk about the luminary, the moon, in the month of September. On the 2nd, there's a new moon in the sign of Virgo. For you, this is your 8th house. This is a practical, very earthy, yin, grounded, very stable new beginning happening in your shared resources house and your house of money. I think you're in for a nice transit when you've got a new moon happening in your 8th house, connected to lunar themes, being your physical body, also to do with environments, cities, places, different faces. So something new is brewing for you that is actually supportive and gives you a sense of stability. And this happens on the 2nd. So a nice new beginning in support that actually improves your assets as well, connected to your physical body or somewhere that is like a new place for you as an Aquarius rising. On the 17th, we see a partial full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces, where your ruling planet Saturn is currently retrograde, your second house. The moon lights up your second house that actually supports your first house. And because your ruling planet is here retrograde, you may be experiencing a change, needing to be more flexible regarding health, anything to do with your physical body, routines. You may start swimming or drink more water, for example, but something's obvious that's going on in being more adaptable or flexible with your body and things that support you through assets, developing new skills. Not saying that you don't have the skills, but you may be in a place where you feel you need to be more flexible or take on more education, if you will, on the 17th of September. That's actually going to support your money house and actually you, because that second house supports the self. So interesting lunations for you on the 2nd of September and the 17th of September. Apologies in advance for any background noise. My computer's loading or doing something, but I've got to get on with this video, so I thought I'd say that. Okay, now on to the other luminary, the Sun. The Sun, opening up the month of September, is continuing its transit in Virgo, your 8th house. On the 8th of September, the Sun is going to be opposing your ruling planet, which is retrograde in the 2nd house. So the Sun may possibly be highlighting on this day some more flexibility regarding shared resources and your finances. And that may grate against you, or you may feel a little bit less optimistic than what the Sun is trying to make you see as optimistic. So it could be a difficult day on the 8th connected to your finances and your sense of assets that support you in yourself, in your character, how you're seen. On the 12th, the Sun squares off with Jupiter. Now, the Sun and Jupiter are very life-giving planets. They're all about abundance and optimism. So they're squaring off. So I don't find this particularly difficult. But what would be difficult on this day with the Sun squaring Jupiter, transiting in Gemini in its detriment sign, which is your 5th house of joy and pleasure, is finances compared to joy. You know, it's like that, I really enjoy this? Because it feels like my pleasure house might be costing me too much, or an intimate partner or dating could be costing you too much. Something to do with what you enjoy is affecting your finances and shared resources. So yeah, difficult day to navigate on the 12th. On the 20th, the Sun is going to then oppose retrograde Neptune in his 2nd house. Now, why would that optimistic luminary, the Sun, be opposed to retrograde Neptune in your 2nd house of finance? Well, it's opposed to uncertainty or being foggy or illusory about your finances and how they support you. So making a decision or a firm decision about your future assets or your wealth is indicated on the 12th. Get certain about what it is that supports you, what's important to you. The Sun is really helping you see the forest for the trees on the 20th of September. On the 22nd, we see the spring equinox begin in the southern hemisphere and the autumn equinox begin in the northern hemisphere. So a change of season for all of us. And on the same day, the Sun ingresses into the sign of Libra, your 9th house, trining your 1st house. So a favorable transit with the Sun transiting in Libra for you up until October 22nd. Now, traditionally, through ancient Hellenistic astrological teachings, the Sun is in the fall sign of Libra. So solar themes are more difficult to be optimistic about, connected to your 9th house topics, being media and publishing, international and foreign connections and travel, higher education, anything to do with legalities, also to do with your spiritual practices, beliefs, your philosophies on life. So it may You may feel less optimistic or feel things are easier to connect with expanding and growth in the ninth house when the sun is in fall. But at least it may give you the opportunity to identify creating more balance and fairness and a sense of equality in your ninth house topics that support you, your first house, yourself, and your physical body. On the 30th of September, the sun is conjuncting Mercury in Libra. So you may see a solar figure, like an authority figure or father figure, mother figure, anyone solar in your life that's quite important to you. Gives you some important information or documentation to consider on this day, the 30th of September. Now on to our personal planet Mars. Now Mars, opening up the month of September, is continuing its transit in the sign of Gemini, and this is your fifth house of joy and pleasure. And also the fifth house trines your first house. So with Mars transiting here, you could have had a lot of passionate times with romantic partnerships, really enjoying life, getting back into fitness, also possibly your own personal creative projects could have had an uptick when Mars transiting here in that fifth house, helping your projects along, or feeling like you're kicking goals in regards to what it is that you do creatively. On the 3rd of September, Mars, before it ingresses into the sign of Cancer, only the day before, it's squaring off with retrograde Neptune in his second house of finance. So Mars squaring retrograde Neptune. What is this about? Well, this is about tension or conflict connected to joy and pleasure and your money and what it is that supports you. This may be a physical injury, you're feeling like lethargic, something about your assets or resources could have like disappointing information or news about that affects your sense of optimism. So a tricky day on the 3rd of September. Then once Mars has stirred things up, it's going to move along and ingress into the sign of Cancer, your sixth house, on the 4th. Traditionally, through ancient Hellenistic astrological teachings, Mars is in its fall sign in Cancer, and this happens to be your sixth house. And also, interestingly enough, through ancient Hellenistic teachings, through astrology, Mars has his joy in the sixth house. What does that mean? So just from that little snippet, Mars likes being in the sixth house. It likes work. It likes getting things done. It likes being physical. It likes getting on top of daily routines, feeling stronger, eliminating any bad habits. It likes getting involved with teams connected with career and co-workers. It likes anything to do with being an ambassador for the underdog, so providing services for other people, helping other people, or services now being more available to you as well when Mars is transiting in that sixth house. But it's in its fall in Cancer, so what you need to incorporate there or readjust the thinking about this transit up until the 3rd of November. Mars is in the watery, feminine cardinal sign of Cancer. So what this means is Mars is trying to find his emotional, intuitive feet in starting something that feels like it's got an end game. The juice is worth the squeeze. I know the goal. I'm going to go for it. But for Cancer, for in the sign of Cancer, we're talking about protecting the emotions and feelings, being very protective about what we want to accomplish. So an interesting transit when Mars is transiting through Cancer up until November 3rd for you, your sixth house. On the 30th of September, Mars is going to trine your ruling planet Saturn retrograde in the second house. For you, I think this may be an easier time to rally in ambassadors and support systems that actually help your physical body. So this could be finding a trainer, getting nutrition sorted out, changing up your diet, also bringing in new people in your work environment, new co-workers, for example, new bosses, and also your finances could start seeing a bit of an uptick because of all the sixth house action that you've been taking from the 4th of September. Something comes through now on the 30th. Our personal planet, Venus, we all love to know what Venus is doing because Venus is connected to our relationships, be them intimate or otherwise. Venus is very much connected to wanting to unite. She has our best interests at heart, which is enjoying life, being very life-giving, being very connected, being very social. Venus is a fabulous planet that only wants to impart joy to us. Opening up the month of September, Venus is continuing her transit in Libra, which is her domicile sign. Venus is very happy in the sign of Libra. And this is your ninth house, which trines your first house. So a beneficial transit for you. So what's the ninth house? It's international and foreign connection and travel. It's media and publishing. It's higher institutions, connecting with institutions that you develop niche skills through, universities. This house also has a lot to do with anything to do with the legal aspects of life, whether you're involved with them or not. And it's our spiritual, philosophical place. It's when we navel gaze or we connect with other people and consider different parts of our spiritual practices and the roads ahead. The ninth house is all about expansion and opening up the mind through physical travel or intellectual travel. So Venus, very strong here in Libra, in your ninth house, trining your first house. Very favourable transit for you as an Aquarius rising. On the 5th of the month, Venus conjuncts the moon. Or the moon conjuncts Venus. When the moon connects with that life-giving planet of harmony, balance, love, and unity, we're talking about feeling good in the physical body, feeling good in our minds, feeling good with our emotional psychic selves, and feeling that we are anchored and supported with those ninth house topics. On the 15th, Venus trines Jupiter in Gemini, its detriment sign, and this is your 5th house. So we have the two benefics in a trine aspect, which is very favourable and very flowy. What's flowing here on this day is a sense of joy and pleasure connecting with larger and bigger horizons and communication and expansion and travel. Wonderful day on the 15th of September. On the 22nd, Venus then squares off with retrograde Pluto in the sign of Capricorn, your 12th house. So Pluto, being the Debbie Downer here, retrograde, really putting on the brakes in your 12th house, squaring to your 9th house of expansion and growth. What you could be dealing with here, Aquarius rising, is something from a long, long time ago needs to be addressed or is stopping you from moving forward and opening up and connecting. So whatever this is that Pluto retrograde is trying to almost give you a sense of the teacher says no sensation on this day, try not to skim over what it is that actually needs to be addressed so you can iron out any nuances to create a sense of moving forward instead of being stuck. On the same day, the 22nd of September, Venus then ingresses into Scorpio, her detriment sign, until October 17. So this is happening in your 10th house, and it's an angular house, so it's important. So the 10th house is the house where we have a lot of presence in the public eye. It's to do with our career, your reputation, how people see you, anything to do with your professional life. Authority figures is highlighted when Venus is transiting in Scorpio, your 10th house, or anytime there's a transit, in your 10th house. That's the topics you're dealing with. So Venus in detriment. What could be happening here is Venus, that planet that always has her best interest as part of creating fun, joy, and pleasure and unity. In her detriment sign, it's harder for her to get over those deep emotions and feeling catty, feeling petty, feeling grumpy, and feeling dissociative, feeling very passionate about what she wants. It's non-negotiable. So it's a difficult transit when Venus is transiting here in your 10th house. If there is any concerns that you do have professionally, or your professional image, or any authorities in your life that grate on you, it's only a passing transit, but you will be feeling some intense sensations, possibly intense connections that disrupt your sense of harmony and peace when it comes to wanting to move forward and take affirmative action in regards to your career and with any public figures connected to authority. So it's a difficult transit. It's not anything you can't handle. But Venus being in a sign that doesn't do very well because she's highly charged by deception, being grumpy, being too white-knuckled about something. So not the easiest of transit in your career, authority, public place. So forewarned is forearmed, take it easy. This too shall pass. Our personal planet Mercury, the planet of intellect, communication, movement, travel, and markets, opening up the month of September, is in the sign of Leo. And this is your 7th house of relationships, be it intimate or otherwise. The 7th house has a lot going on in it, like all the houses. There's more to it than this is the marriage house, this is the partnership house, this is the relationship house. It is. But it's also connected to contracts, negotiation, and agreements, things that we anchor into through our own free will. It's also the house connected to pleasure. Pleasure at the end of the day. The 7th house is to do with endings. So what you could be experiencing here, opening up the month of September, is a slowdown or the ending of a relationship, contract, or an agreement, and connecting to something else. On the 9th, we then see planet Mercury ingressing into the sign of Virgo, your 8th house, and this is Mercury's sign of exaltation and its domicile. So quite simply, Mercury is really happy in the sign of analytic, data, detail-oriented, nitpicky, perfectionist sign of Virgo. Very happy because Mercury really wants to connect and know the deets. So when we're talking about a transit in your 8th house of your shared resources and finances, you can expect to want to know everything connected to what you're agreeing to and your assets. Again, apologies in advance for all the noise my bloody computer's making. On the 18th, we see Mercury then oppose your ruling planet retrograde in the 2nd house. So what's Mercury opposed to? It's opposed to slow action from you regarding anything financial that actually influences your physical body, your image, and your sense of self. On the 25th, we see a Mercury opposing retrograde Neptune in your 2nd house of assets that support you and your physical body and your image. So Mercury is opposed to retrograde Neptune, which is seeing the forest for the trees. It has clarity. It has more understanding about its visions for the future. So you may be dodging a proverbial bullet that's going to affect your physical body and your finances. So well done you for having clarity. On the 26th, we see Mercury then ingress into the sign of Libra, your ninth house, until October 13. The ninth trines your first house. This is a favorable transit. Mercury in your ninth house, you can expect an uptick in communication and travel, be it international or just travel to different places and connecting with different faces. The ninth house with Mercury here too can see you going over details, anything to do with litigation regarding anything to do with law, higher education, publishing and media, and again, international and foreign travel and affairs. A great transit for you when Mercury is transiting in Libra, your ninth house, trining your first house from the 26th of September to October 13. I'm Cosmic Girl 101 and I'm signing off. Thank you for tuning in to your month through the lens, symbology, and wisdom of the planets. I trust you have a fabulous month. If you know your own natal chart and you have significant planets that are transiting in the month of September that actually connect with your own personal planets, take note of that as well, and what the planets are connecting with in the month and what houses they are highlighting for you are going to be important in integrating more understanding through this report. There it is. It was a long video, but there is a lot going on always. So I will catch you next video. Take it easy, enjoy your month, and I'll catch you next time.